Good morning, everybody. It's Andrew here from andrewplummer.com, the show that speaks volumes. I'm very excited today because I'm here with my friend Barbara Brewster. How you doing, Barbara?
I'm great. I love being on screen.
I know. It's awesome to have you on the show. Barbara and I actually met as briefly as it was, and behind my house we have a sort of a bushwalk where it's a beautiful native bush, and I spotted Barbara one day. I think she might have been meditating, and I wanted to meet her then, and I did, and we've sort of become friends. We sort of lost track of each other for a little while, but we've got back in touch, and I'm really looking forward to today. So, Barbara, maybe we can start by you telling us a little bit about your past, where you came from, how you got to how you got to where we are today.
And as I was saying earlier, do you want my change of consciousness or do you want the physicality? And I'm going to give you a little of both. So why is a person who pronounces her R's here in Australia? Because this country reached out to me when I was about 10 years old in California, at the library. I read all the books and I was in love. And I knew I'm going to go to Australia. It was like the last frontier. And so ultimately two things happened. One was that my mom and dad were terrific in that they allowed me to have a AFS, or American Field Service student, when I was a senior in high school. And of all places in the world, she was from Australia. 20 years later, I look back and I went, that seems to have been a little bit of a clue. So Diana was my sister for a year, and then I discovered the assisted passage scheme, and I learned about how I could come and be paid as a Californian to be here in Australia. So in 1967, when I was 22, I immigrated alone from California. Wound up teaching school in Keith in South Australia with no training whatsoever, but that's what you could do in those days. It was magic. It was a fantastic time to be young, female, and white
Right.
in Australia.
Yeah. And I forgot to mention in the intro, Barbara has written several books, and she's a published author, obviously, and also now a writer's coach. And maybe you'd like to tell us a little bit about your books?
This one is my love affair with Australia, down under all over. Just to say a little bit that I discovered recently, my God, I've written a history book. I wrote it about 25 years ago, and now I can see what's changed so much. It encompasses my life of adventure and travel, like hitchhiking from, say, Keith to Coober Pedy in the 60s, and then coming back 20 years later, Coober Pedy in 1989. Quite a change. Now looking at Coober Pedy, this is mostly rural people, my love affair with the land and with the rural people.
So maybe, obviously, this is where we're a global show. Did you know that? So maybe you'd like to explain, tell our listeners where Coober Pedy is.
Oh, okay. Right smack in the center of Australia, in a lot of dusty landscape that you can't see much of anything but landscape, there is an amazing place where people for years were going down in the mines to mine for opals. And one of my treasures is the experience of arriving by we hitchhiked, my teacher friend and I, from Keith up to Coober Pedy, and we wound up hitching with the Australian National Geological Survey. So yeah, okay. And so when it took us 3 days, and we camped out along the way with these three guys who couldn't have been more. There were three vehicles, and they couldn't have been more great with us. And when we got to Coober Pedy, then we had to figure out how to get out of there and get back to school in time after the 1 week of the May holidays. In the meantime, we lived in in a house, which is a dugout. In those days, everything was just, when they wanted to build a new room, they just blew it up. And we got to see that happening. It was a magical time to be involved in that. There were miners from every country in the world, and we were able to go down mines. Of course, we were these young, gorgeous women, you know.
Yeah,
We hit it off very well.
I'm sure you did.
Yes. So this contrasts Coober Pedy when I was there in 1968. 20 years later, going back to Coober Pedy, it's paved road. There's a place where you can eat French food.
Is that right? It's still outback, though, isn't it?
It's still out back, but you don't have to drive over mud puddles and things for 3 days to get there. And so it's not nearly as exciting.
Fair enough. So, and that's your first book, yeah? That was your first book you've written, yeah?
So I didn't know I was writing a book. I was writing my love affair with being back in Australia after being away for... See, I arrived here, thought I'd be here 3 or 4 years is what I did. And then I went back to the States thinking I need to get some kind of a degree that allows me to do something besides to teach school with no training. Or like I was a cook in a hospital, or I did ironing. And it was, again, a time of great adventure. But I thought I needed to have something different. And I went back to California, wound up getting married, moving to Oregon, wound up getting something that was diagnosed as multiple sclerosis.
Oh, bummer.
And that became a big journey. And so I was away way much longer than I thought. And when I came back with my wonderful new husband who joined me in loving Australia, I was traveling writing this book, which is my journey through the healing process with MS, with just... Everybody noticed Deepak Chopra's on the front of the book. And I was writing to people, we were going in caravan parks and whatnot where we could have a higher man. And my wonderful husband was carrying this huge laptop thing that was prior to laptops. I was writing 2 books at the same time as I was back there.
Oh, those 2 books there.
Yeah, I was writing this, and lo and behold, I was writing little stories. There wasn't email then, and so I was just writing letters to people about, I'm back at Broome, I'm here at the Monkey Maya, I'm at places that I love so much, I'm back on the farm with Rob and Di. And then after a while I went, oh, I just got all these wonderful vignettes. I'll put them into a book.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I learned to publish. I published my own, and this was again in Oregon, where I had a lot of help with the Northwest Association of Book Publishers, where we all got to learn how to do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So now you're a writer's coach.
Yes, I've been kind of resurrected. Had
awesome.
a kind of a difficult time from the 60s. When I turned 60, things sort of went a little bit different. And I've run across a business mentor who is showing me how to be more business-like than just say, here I am, I want to, share my love affair with books and my love affair with, one of the things along the way I've learned is improvisation and comedy, and I've turned it into something I call rambunctious writing or power of play. Writing's on paper, the power play is verbally, and it has changed lives right and left because we're allowing people to be very playfully present in the now and accepting what is in the now without judging it.
So you're a big fan of Urquhart, totally. We talked about Urquhart, didn't we, a while ago when I was sort of on my journey, and let me tell you, a few years ago I wouldn't have dreamt of feeling the need, if you like, to read those sorts of books, but I got a lot out of it.
And I have too, and I use quotes from him in all my workshops because it's all about what would be more insane to resist the present moment. It is as it is. Now, I've spent my life resisting present moments.
Me too.
The universe hands me a little offer of multiple sclerosis. No, not me. I hitchhike around the world. That's for other people. And then eventually going, oh, this is how it is. Now, how do I respond when I'm not in this sort of a mode? And I'm going, okay, let's go with it. And when I wanted to open up to being more sparkly because I was very serious. And
I've
when
never known you as being serious.
I burst open the shell on my silliness, and when I started doing comedy, this was back in Oregon University. I and everyone there, we were blown away at our wit, our cleverness, when we weren't thinking. As soon as we were given a tiny little structure and
Yeah.
we could go, let's just like that, and then we were rolling on the floor. And I was addicted, and I'm getting to answer your question shortly. I had people coming to my house. This was about 20, 30 years ago. And we would do comedy on Sundays. And I couldn't wait. So I started using the routines or the little structures to write. My writing completely changed. I was blown away again. I tend to write something like this. This is nonfiction. This is my experience. This is my deep delving into consciousness and my willingness to look at the spiritual aspects of my journey and things that touch and move me. But suddenly, here I am writing things that come out with the strangest what do I want to say? Changing of words. Can't think. I'm talking. I'm so excited. Okay. So the imagination got rolling, which is not something that has been my forte. And I thought, my God, this is powerful. The other thing was the guy who was in the comedy class teaching, he passed out the principles of comedy. This is the same as the spiritual principles that I am trying to live. It's all comedy as blocks. It's offers and blocks. So if I offer you, we're playing a little game, and I say, I'm here to pick up the crocodiles, and you sit there and go, nope. End of story. You know that program on TV, Thank God You're Here?
I'm familiar with it.
Yeah,
but
well,
don't-
it's all improv, and if somebody comes in and they give an offer and you go, no, you turn off the TV. But if you say, yes, the crocodiles are here, and Steve Irwin is dancing with them, and they've got their polka dot shoes on, then we've got a story. That's how life is. And I love that we can practice the art of being in the moment and laughing, so that when you walk out your door and you've got 4 flat tires, instead of going into the no, it's more, I wonder what this story is about.
Do you think that we're becoming more conscious, if you like, as a race or as a society? Let's talk about Australia. Well, no, it's global, I guess. But do you think overall are we becoming more conscious? Or I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I tend to think, I'm hoping that that's the case, but I think I'm hanging out with more conscious people now. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I probably got several books worth of that. I could say so much. How can I be?
Briefly.
Yeah, briefly. I do feel my life is constantly giving me opportunities to look at my old patterns of how I react or choose to respond. And I've got a bigger sense now of my choices. I don't have to go down the prescribed path that I automatically did.
Right.
So I'm much more conscious of my choices. And as I kind of look at what's happening globally, look at the news on Facebook and stuff, I certainly feel that we are being given a real, if you want to call it a whack on the head, to go, are you willing to make the changes that are going to save you? Yeah. So it does seem there's more consciousness.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, too, that some people sort of boo-hoo social media and that sort of thing, but I think social media especially is having a huge effect on this change, don't you think?
I used to be, judge. And then I started getting into it. And one of the biggest things that excites me is how it's changing consciousness about animals. You can see amazing stuff about animals, and people who would never cross their mind that a duck could communicate with a policeman about getting her little babies out of a grill under the ground. There, people are going, maybe ducks have feelings, and on and on. So that alone, and I'm finding, I actually quite find it amazing. There's stuff in there that is definitely not getting out in the mainstream.
Oh, for sure. And look, let's face it, we couldn't be doing what we're doing today without social media and new technology, could we? It's incredible. Now, Barbara is struggling a little bit with technology, but she's certainly getting there. I mean, she's just recently built a new website, which looks awesome, by the way. We'll talk about it in a minute. But just talk about technology for a second.
Well, yeah, because when I published my books, it was like you put an ad in the paper or you put a poster up, and it was pretty straightforward. And now having to change a Word document to a JPEG to a PNG, and by the time I've done all that, I'm ready to slit my throat. And so I could go on and on, as I know many people have. And I think maybe you're leaning into a little song I wrote about.
I could be. Barbara's also a muso, if you like. And look, I knew this interview would be good fun. So she's going to sing us a little song here today. I hope the sound comes up okay, but let's give it a go anyway.
Okay. I'm just going to make sure it's tuned a little bit because... Oh, wow. Yeah, I've just brought it out of the house and it's... There we go. Good. You beauty. Nope, not that one. See, I'm into the power of imperfection. I don't pretend to be a good singer or to have a great voice, but I feel I was given a voice to sing with, and I have the right to sing.
Well, one of my mentors often says, take imperfect action, and I guess we wouldn't be here today if we weren't taking imperfect action. So tell us a little bit about this song, Barb.
Okay. I happen to have had lots of experience of being absolutely going brain fried with technology. So one day I wrote this song, and it's called, originally I called it Techno Rage, and I decided, and I've always, and I'll do it again now, thank you to my Lenovo laptop, thank you to all my electronic equipment, you are great. This is just a little fun, don't take it personally, okay?
Okay, here we go.
And I'll just sing, there's about 6 verses, I'll just sing a couple, but you can sing along on the chorus, okay? I stormed around in Techno Rage once again today. As usual, my PC was having its own way. For every time I pressed a key, it froze or growled with glee. It loves to see me cringe and drool, and quaking like a fool. Yippee-yi-yay, yippee-yi-yo. In Techno Rage am I. And I've changed it to Techno Yuck.
Okay.
I'm here in the confessional because I'm so obsessed. My face is hot and shiny. That's the first. Face is hot and shiny. My shirt all soaked with sweat. I'm here in the confessional because I'm so obsessed. Forgive me for these sinful thoughts raging through my head. I want to strangle, hack, and slash my PC till it's dead. Yippee-yi-yay, yippee-yi-yo. Oh, chokes me up. In Techno Yuck am I. There's a lot of great verses, and I've actually put on Facebook, I'm putting the verses out on my Facebook page one day at a time, and I'm inviting anyone who wants to contribute verses.
Okay.
And if they're printable, I will put them up.
Awesome. So, just sort of in closing, but where to from now? I know you've redeveloped your website, you're rebranding yourself. So what do you hope to achieve in the short term? What's your passion or mission statement? Or
about to turn 72 in December.
No way.
And when I think of what this body's been through, I'm amazed. But I have been pretty conscious about what I do with it. I feel that I've been prepared all my life to be one of the elders that help steer the ship at this time, because my whole life has been about going through, looking at the things that don't work and finding those that do light up my soul. And I'm here now rebirthing myself in giving to people my vast life experience. I'm using the avenue of rambunctious writing workshops. I'm using the avenue of rambunctious coaching. But as my mentor, business mentor says, he said, people are coming to get your, what do you call it, my headspace. And I don't mean the mental headspace, it's the consciousness that has been changed. Because I've been through so much, it doesn't really matter what the form is. But I'm available now. I've gone through my rebirthing, and I've got the energy, which when I first met you, I didn't have a few months back. But I've been working, letting things go, confronting those places in myself where I'm very judgmental, and that has not served me at all. And so lots of ways that I used to be, I'm much more able now to go, I don't have to do that anymore.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I knew it would be an absolute pleasure to hang out with you today, and no doubt this won't be the last time we chat. I absolutely love your energy, and I love what you do. And so the best way for people to connect with you?
Well, if the technology is working, my current website is a bit down.
Is it?
On the events page. So they've got wonderful events coming up, like on the 19th of this month. I'm sure the events page will be back up. But the best is to look for www.barbarabrewster.com or go to my Facebook, and you'll find me that way.
So just search Barbara Brewster on Facebook.
Yeah,
I'll put the links on the video.
There are a lot of Barbara Brewsters. So I'm Barbara Brewster, and then my home, just the private one is Starshine under that, or the other one is Barbara Brewster, Writer's Coach. I hope I didn't spit on you. Yeah, the Writer's Coach author. It'll get you there. Yeah.
That's awesome, Barbara. Do go and track Barbara down. If you want to sort of have a bit of fun and hang around with a fun person, absolutely, that's where you should head. Thanks heaps for watching today. I really, really appreciate this. If you like this video, please like, share, and comment. And I look forward to talking to you soon. Have an awesome day. Bye now.